This is Di Miller with Lax Philly here with Patrick Dougherty from Turkey Lacrosse, and we are here to discuss his program, the Turkey Lacrosse Association, and the Istanbul program, as well as their first appearance last year in the 2014 FIL World Championships and the WILC, and a few other things. So thanks for allowing us to interview you today, Patrick. It's an honor. So
Thank you.
why don't you tell me a little bit about what prompted you to form the Turkey Lacrosse Association, being the founder and also the board chairman?
In August of 2009, I moved to Turkey with my wife, who is Turkish. And prior to arriving, I did a lot of research regarding lacrosse in Turkey because I still wanted to play. And I noticed that there wasn't any lacrosse being played at all. So I looked at my wife and told her that one of my first goals is to start lacrosse in the country. She just kind of looked at me like, okay. And so we moved in August of 2009, and in October of 2009, I found a gentleman who was on the national team for the U16s for Czech Republic. He was here for about 3 to 6 months with his parents. His dad had some kind of work obligation, and we connected somehow. I can't be honest, I can't remember exactly how we connected, but we did. And we went to a local park and threw the ball around. So that's how the lacrosse was started in Turkey. And then after that, I developed a website, did all the social media. So it was kind of one of those build it and they will come kind of scenarios. And one thing led to another. Guys started who went to school in high school on an exchange program that were Turkish to the United States. Ended up playing the game there, came back to Turkey, and didn't have anywhere to play, but fell in love with the game, and they started finding me. And then we started having practices, and then they would tell their friends, and it kind of grew word of mouth from that point, as well as we got a lot of media attention in the beginning as well, from national newspapers and national TV shows and news here in Turkey.
Okay. So with as far as the Istanbul program director, how did you get into that position? What got you started on that?
Well, the very first club is Istanbul. That's where I'm located. We coined it the Istanbul Sultan Lacrosse Club. So I'm the coach. I'm the program director here. For that, we do have we have Michael Moore, who's actually leaving next month. Who's been here a few years. He runs our Ankara program, which is the Mamak Ankara Knights is the name. And then Tyler Rinko, who is here, went to Roanoke, played there, and then came here as a teacher for a two-year contract in Izmir, which is on the Aegean. Started our Izmir program. He went back to the States the end of school last year, and that program is called the Izmir Warriors. So we have 3 programs here in Turkey. The Ankara program has been starting a women's program as well. The other 2 programs, Izmir and Istanbul, we really just have men playing. I've been really striving for about 6 years to get a women's team and program starting, but it just seems to not seem to be working for some reason at this point. I just can't get enough of them together at one time. But the reason why I'm the program director here is because I'm the guy that knows and knew what the sport was more than anyone else.
Okay. So how did you get your start in lacrosse? Did you play club lacrosse? Did you play it in college? How was it that you ended up getting your start in lacrosse, and what made you decide to play defense?
Well, I like to hit people. That's pretty cool. So let's put it that way. I started lacrosse when I was 12. One of my buddies, Corey, played lacrosse. We became friends roughly about that age. Went to his house. His older brothers played, and he gave me a stick, and I started playing from that point on. And then played boys club my first couple years. Played defense because I'd like to hit. I was more of a hitting type of a person. And then as I was progressed through, my years of playing, I played attack, and then I also played midi and defensive midi as well. And then I went back to defense when I actually came back when I moved here to Turkey. I moved back to defense because I'm 38 now. So running around on the field is not my idea of fun anymore. So what I'd rather do is have someone run at me and then put them on the ground.
Okay. So because you play both box and field, which one of the two do you like best?
I like box. Personally, from a player standpoint, for me, I like the hard-hitting action. I like the fact that we can cross-check off ball. I like the shortened field, if you will, the more confined space. I like how everyone has to use short sticks. I like the rapid pace of the game as well, and the line changes. And the 30-second shot clock, I think, brings a great element to the game. 30 seconds, excuse me. I think that brings a great element to the game. It keeps it fast-paced. That's something I think that should be instituted into the field game for some of these, especially international, because in international lacrosse, it's 80-minute games. There's no time to clear, so you have all the time in the world. And sometimes it brings it to a actually very boring, slow-paced field lacrosse game, similar to the to the World Championship game, which was USA versus Canada last year.
Yeah.
Canada slowed it down. U.S. was more of a running gun, which was great for Canada to do so. I mean, they played into their strategy perfectly. But from a viewer, spectator standpoint, it was actually quite boring. And I think if we start putting and making movement, because you can sit on the ball and just waste 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, per possession, and that really doesn't really keep the flow of the game. And from a spectator standpoint, it can get, like I said, quite boring.
Yeah, I know last year I covered all 10 days of the World's FIL here in Commerce City, and I did see that without the shot clock, there was several games. I shot every game in the stadium, and then I shot the majority of my games on the 2 turf fields. And I noticed that there was a lot of stalling, and the fans got to be able to stay in the game. And when the fans start losing interest, that we're trying to grow lacrosse, and if you've got people that are watching, all they're doing is throwing the ball around in a diamond formation, it's not conducive to the sport. If they really want to get the spectators involved and grow the game. So
I mean, and that's one thing. That's one reason I like box, because it's you're constantly forced to move the ball, and if you don't shoot on goal after a certain period of time, then it's a change of possession, and it goes the other way instantly.
Yes, exactly. So
I do like that aspect of it. The fighting part of indoor, that I could care less for that. But the rest of it is I think is much better, because it's, in my opinion, my coaching philosophy opinion is the indoor game, because you have to pass on the run, but also pass when you are pressured, shoot when you're pressured. You are pressured off the ball as well, makes for a better field lacrosse player. And just like it was the University of Denver that won the national championships, their main scorers were were box lacrosse guys.
Yeah.
And you could see the difference because they were scoring in the field, coming across the middle, and were pressured by one or two guys, maybe sometimes three, still got the shot off and scored, where normal field is pull it out and get into open space and then reset the offense.
Exactly. Yeah, I know I covered the DU Brown game that got them to the NCAA quarterfinals, and then I also covered the NCAA quarterfinals here. And it was, I tell you, it was a lot of like really exciting lacrosse. And you're right, DU really moved the ball well, and they had fast shots on goal. I mean, it was a fast-paced game, which is what the fans want to see. Now let's talk a little bit about Turkey's first appearance last year at the FIL here in Colorado. First time you guys ever appear in the FIL. You ended 22nd out of 38 teams, which was really great considering it was your first time in. And what was even better was that you guys were ranked 5th defensively among all the nations who appeared. Talk a little bit about how that felt for you guys.
For the program, it was great success. The only other program, which was a first-time program that did that better than us, was Israel. They came in, I think, 7th or so in the world. We came in 22nd. You know, a few of the games, if it went a different way, you know, some things we could have been much higher, which was a nice striving point for the next World Games. You know, for our players to come in 22nd, they were thrilled. But as sportsmen, we always want to be better. We always want to get better, and we know that we can get better as we keep developing. Being ranked 5th in the world for defense was amazing. Our defensive guys did a fantastic job, and a lot of it comes down to our goalie. Our goalie was Jacob Donnie, who plays at Gettysburg. He was number 1 in the world at the games for total saves and save percentage.
Wow.
I believe as well. That kid stood on his head. He's a major factor of why the defense was ranked what it is. And, you know, granted, our defensive guys, we had guys that played at Louise McRae, Providence, Jem Kalkaban was a huge support. He just graduated this last year from Tufts, won the national championships 2 years in a row for Division III, led his D this year, you know, and a few others that came in and played. So we actually have some really good. We don't have many Turkish players playing in the United States and at the college level, but the ones we do are pretty damn good.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And goalies are huge. I mean, if you don't have a good goalie, it doesn't matter how your defense or your offense is. Without a good goalie, you're done basically.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
So this year with the WILC, this was the first time you guys ever appeared. You finished 10th, and the FIL granted the TLA full membership privileges. How did that feel, considering you helped start the program in your country?
You know, coming in 10th place at the World Indoors is our team did wonderful. A lot of the players, for some of the players, I should say, it was their very first time ever playing box lacrosse. We don't really play box lacrosse here in Turkey, per se. Your traditional box lacrosse. We do have shortened fields, and I do a hybrid coaching where I put in box and field together. So they kind of have a little bit of box when we train. But when the guys came over, that was the very first time they actually stepped into a proper box lacrosse floor. First time they ever had to put on the hockey helmet, if you will, the box helmets. And we came together as a team very quickly before the events. So that really helped us. our coaching staff, which was the coaching staff for Onondaga Redhawks. Their staff and the community there opened their arms to us and really made us feel at home and as part of their family. Because the way that I present this organization is we all of us are family, and we need to act as such. And it really drove it home with our players and our culture mixing with their culture as well. The coming in or being a full member of the FIL has been a goal since day one. When I first started the program in October of '09, the July of 2010 is when the World Games were in Manchester. So I went there and promoting the sport that it's being played in Turkey. Got my picture taken with all the teams, start talking with everyone. At that FIL meeting, we were inducted as an associate member, which was a great honor for starting the sport a little less than a year beforehand and already being an associate member of the FIL. And then being about 4 years later, being able to be a full member is fantastic, because for a country of our kind and our type, we are the very first ones to ever be playing the sport of lacrosse. We're the very first ones to be members of the FIL and the European Lacrosse Federation. We're the first ones to go to the World Games for indoor and for field. And we're the first ones to, hopefully we'll go to the Europeans next summer. We're the first ones to be going to the Europeans as well for a country of our kind. So there's a lot of firsts. We're helping leading the way for countries in our area, part of the world, if you will, that have the same kind of demographics and whatnot. So we're looking to lead, and by being in the FIL, we bring a different perspective to the rest of the members because of where we are situated in the world. So I think it's a good thing for us internally. We technically have been recognized as a sport here in Turkey, so we should receive money from the sports government by participating in the World Games and coming in 22nd and in 10th helps our cause, as well as going to the Euros hopefully next summer in Budapest, Hungary will help our cause. And then also being a member of the full member of the FIL, which gives us voting rights, and also being a member of the ELF now for a few years.
Okay. Yeah, because I know last year there was only 38 nations at the FIL here in Denver, and now there's 52 member nations. So you can already tell that the game is growing, not just in the United States and in Canada, but it is growing worldwide, which is simply amazing, because the lacrosse used to be typically in Canada and on the eastern seaboard here in the United States, and it is spreading all throughout the United States. Pretty much every high school program has it. You've got your club lacrosse, your colleges, all the different division levels of college, and now all the international leagues as well. So it's becoming a very popular sport, and I think the more that people know about it and the more that people can promote it, the bigger the game is going to grow, which is just ultimate. It's just fantastic.
No, I agree with what you said. I mean, it's we're gaining as an organization, world organization, we're gaining anywhere from 2 to 3 new countries establishing and playing the sport of lacrosse on average a year, which is phenomenal. It's a phenomenal growth. The sport of lacrosse just in Europe has exploded over the last about 15 years, 10 to 15 years. So right now, I think in the ELF, which is the European Lacrosse Federation, there's about 28 member nations playing, which is the bulk of all of the countries playing is a little over half of all countries in the world playing come from Europe. And then now it's growing in Africa. Obviously Uganda, everybody knows. But I also believe there's a few more countries there that are also establishing the sport. So it's great to see it expand and grow. And, eventually we will be hopefully back in the Olympics. Now, granted, that's not going to be anytime soon. But the reality is as we grow and it's being petitioned as we speak, we may not be in the Olympics, but we are close to being recognized by the Olympics as an Olympic sport, which means that the organizations around the world will be able to, including the FIL, ELF, and what have you.
Yeah.
And then your national governing bodies will be able to put the Olympic symbol, which are the circles, on their letterhead. Because once we are recognized by the Olympics, this then will help open up the door for national governing bodies to petition their governments and hopefully start getting funding. Because as of now, almost every single country in the world is self-funded, and a lot of the national team players, including Turkey, have to pay out of pocket and are not supported by their government yet. So when all these kids are traveling, just like ours, these kids are paying to represent their own country.
Yeah, and that just shows you there how much the players love the game. To be willing to do that, it's for the love of the game. But the last thing that I wanted to talk to you about was Frank Menschner. He recently he passed away this summer. He was very big in the lacrosse community, known by thousands and thousands of people, and he had been coaching a team here in the United States and chose this year to become the goalie coach for Turkey for the WILC. Knowing that his life was about lacrosse, and again, we lost a great man when he passed away this summer. Tell us a little bit about your friendship and how how it affected, how you guys felt when he chose to become the goalie coach for Turkey, and how did it affect the team when they heard of his passing?
Frank and I met Frank back in 2011 at the Alice Vinsky Memorial in Prague. That's an indoor box tournament that now has been going on for almost 25 years. That's in Prague, Czech Republic. It's the oldest indoor box lacrosse tournament in Europe. It's a bucket list for many box lacrosse guys throughout the world. It's a great tournament. I met him in 2011 there. We started talking, became friends after that, and met him every single year after that at the tournament. Frank had been going to that tournament for about 15 years in a row, something like that. Everybody knew him there. Everybody loves him. As we started talking, we'd communicate quite often. When we decided that we were going to have a indoor tournament or indoor national team to go to the World Indoors this past September, I contacted Frank and asked him if he would be part of our team because it would be an honor to have his knowledge, his experience, and help bring that knowledge and experience to our program. And he happily said yes, which was great. He was also coaching the U19 USA team that played in the World Lacrosse Challenge, which was at Six Nations. He said that he was going to be coaching them as well. And then he would immediately come over to us, which we were extremely ecstatic about. The kids were all excited. This gentleman has had 40 plus years of box lacrosse experience. He's known as the grandfather of box lacrosse goalies in the U.S. The gentleman is like you said, his whole life was all about lacrosse and all about helping others, paying it forward, which is really what I adore about him most. It's one thing if you play the sport of lacrosse, but it's another thing when you do it selfishly and you give your knowledge and your experience to all those around you and to help them experience the love of the game just as you did. And that's what he was a great ambassador to the game through and through. Once the team found out that he passed away, it was devastating, of course. Everyone was in shock. It was not something that any of us were expecting in any way, shape, or form. I don't think anybody in the world was expecting that knew Frank. And it was something that we dealt with as a team. On our team uniforms at the World Indoors, we have a patch that has the letter F, the number 1 in the middle, and the letter M for Frank. So he was with us at the World Indoors, and he's with us from here on out as well. All our uniforms had those. Give our respects to him. And what he's done for the game over 40 plus years, founding Philly Box Lacrosse, the oldest box lacrosse league in the United States. And then during one of our games, the World Indoors were kind enough so that we can actually have a moment of silence for Frank before one of our games at the World Indoor Championships.
Yeah, I know when I heard the news of his passing, I was shocked as well. I never got to personally meet him, but I do know that he was just, again, he loved the game, and it was all about growing the game, and always giving back to the game, and that's rare in people with a lot of situations. And so he was a great man, and again, he's going to be missed by thousands and thousands of people all around the world, just for the impact that he made in the lacrosse world.
Absolutely, he's a great man, off and on the field. God, heaven created an angel that day.
Yes, yes, he did. So, well, I would like to thank you for taking the time to do this interview with me for Lax Philly. I am going to be posting this on YouTube, and I will also, when I post the interview link on the Lax Philly Facebook page, I will also put on your link for the donations for Turkey Lacrosse and see what we can do to help you guys out.
Well, thank you.
So,
I appreciate it.
And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day today. It was a very enjoyable interview, and you have allowed the fans to learn a lot about how Turkey Lacrosse was founded and all the different things that you're doing with the program. We appreciate it, Patrick.
Thank you, Di, and you have a beautiful day as well.
Okay, you too. Thanks. Okay, bye-bye.